Hello, and welcome to What Do I Do If I Have Extra Time? No matter how well a teacher plans out the day for you, there are going to be times when you have to quickly and creatively fill up 5 to 10 minutes. And these extra time activities are often referred to as sponge activities because they're really meant to soak up those in between minutes with motivating, challenging, and fun things for the students to do. As you gain experience in substitute teaching, you're going to develop lots of sponge activities of your own. Until then, I want to share a few ideas for those of you subbing at the secondary, that's middle and high school level, to kind of stick in your back pocket for when, not if, these moments arise. You are welcome to download this slide deck to keep it as a reference. Just jot down this link, bit.ly/capital NKCES, lowercase time, uppercase SEC, number 1. And that's going to take you directly to these slides, and there's lots of useful links embedded throughout. The first idea I want to share with you is that of reflective questions. If a lesson or an activity ends a little earlier than you anticipated, have the students write or type their answers to some reflective questions about their learning. Some examples of reflective questions you could ask, even if you aren't an expert in the content or the skills they're learning, could be: how does today's learning connect to what you already knew? Now, you could change that question to be more specific if you wanted. For example, you could say, how does what we learned today about different forms of government connect to what you already knew? Another example of a reflective question could be, what questions do you still have after today's learning or after today's lesson? And again, modify this if you'd like to be more specific. For example, you could ask, what questions do you still have after today's lesson about Spanish culture? Another good reflection question could be, why might learning this skill or this content be important? Change that one if you're comfortable to reflect exactly what you're asking them to reflect on. For example, you could say, why might learning about these different types of tools be important? Now, depending on the group, reflection like this could certainly be something that was turned into a group conversation also, especially if you only have a few minutes to fill. This could be something you collect and then share with the classroom teacher, or it could just be something you ask them to keep in their notebooks for continued reflection. If you'd like to explore more, I've linked here 40 more examples of reflective questions from Edutopia. Another fun and brain-stretching way to fill those extra minutes is by making lists. So you present a topic, and the students have to come up with as many things as they can think of on that topic. For example, you could say, let's list as many cities as we can think of in the state of Kentucky, or whatever state you live in or are working in. This is something that you can do as a whole class on chart paper while you or another student jots down all the ideas that the class calls out. It could also be done individually with a partner or even in small groups on notebook paper. Or it could even be done on the students' devices independently or on a shared document, for example. There are lots of ways to modify how you do this to fit the group of students that you're teaching. Some other ideas that might spur your own could be, let's see if we can list all of the teachers in the school, or how many facilities can we think of that serve our community, or maybe how many models of cars can we think of? Now, linked in this picture here is an article from Scholastic, and it's really meant for younger children, but I still encourage you to browse through this article because it may spur ideas for you that you could use with middle and high school students when it comes to list making. Brain teasers are a great way to soak up a few extra minutes and give students creative thinking and logic skills a little challenge. So, a hink pink, which is sometimes called a rhyming pair, is just a pair of rhyming words that matches a silly definition. For example, what could you call hand coverings for baby cats? Kittens' mittens. Or what's another name for a tired yellow flower? A lazy daisy. Another example, what could you call a steak stealer? A beef thief. I encourage you just to Google Hink Pinks and you'll get lots of examples to have on deck. Another fun brain teaser is rebus puzzles. So, a rebus is a picture representation of a name or a phrase, and it's usually something that's pretty well known or common. And you have to try to figure out what that common name or phrase is that's being represented. For example, can you figure out what this is representing? Small talk. How about this one? This one is representing the phrase top secret. And here's one more example. This one stands for leftovers. So I've linked here in the name a source from funwithwords.com that has lots and lots of examples of rebus puzzles. And if you Google this also, you're going to get lots more. Another example of brain teasers that could soak up those extra minutes are riddles. So I've linked here lots of examples from brightside.me to get you started. So let's look at a few of those. What can be seen once in a minute, twice in a moment, and never in 1,000 years? The letter M. Which tire doesn't move when a car turns right? The spare tire. Now, these could work if you're teaching digitally because you could just throw this page up on the screen and then click underneath to reveal the answer. A fourth idea to keep up your sleeve is the use of videos. So, short video clips are a really great way to get students thinking deeply on something or to just spur conversation. Now, you can't just show any video in the classroom. So, here's a safe choice that you might want to explore, and that's TED Ed. So, let's check it out. So, I've linked you to the Discover tab on the TED Ed website. And so, you'll see lots and lots of just short videos that you could choose from as a sponge activity. I want to point out at the top something that would be useful to you as a substitute teacher is that you can filter by subject. So if you are specifically subbing for the math teacher, you can choose math videos. If you're subbing for the health teacher, you can choose health videos and so on. Over on the right-hand side, you can also filter by grade level. So if we click on student level, we can choose middle school or lower secondary or high school or upper secondary to make sure that the videos we're choosing are appropriate for that grade level. Let's check one out.
Water is virtually everywhere, from soil moisture and ice caps to the cells inside our own bodies. Depending on factors like location, fat index, age, and sex, the average human is between 55 and 60% water. At birth, human babies are even wetter. Being 75% water, they are swimmingly similar to fish. But their water composition drops to 65% by their first birthday. So what role does water play in our bodies? And how?
So hopefully you can see how videos like this one is less than 5 minutes, could just spur conversation, just make them curious about things. I want to point out that over to the right, there's also a Think, Dig Deeper, and Discuss tab that offers questions that you could ask if you need to fill even more time. Now, when it comes to showing videos in the classroom, there are a few musts if you're going to use this as a sponge activity. And first of all, you never want to show a video that you haven't already watched yourself in its entirety. 2, never display a video for students until after the previews or the ads. Watch out for those. Many videos, especially those you're going to find on YouTube, the ads in the beginning don't match the video that's being shown as far as the rating or the audience. So all of those ads are not always going to be appropriate. Now, the videos on the TED Ed website are completely safe for that. You're not going to see ads beforehand on that. That's why it's a safe bet. But if you are finding videos that have ads, what I recommend is that you click the ad, let it play, pause the video, then display it for the students. A third must when it comes to showing videos is to have it pulled up in advance. This is something that would be good to have prepared. Open up the video that you'd like to have on deck before the students arrive, or maybe while they're at lunch or in between classes, and have it minimized at the bottom of your screen. This way, when you have that 10-minute gap to fill, you can simply pull it up and hit play without fumbling to find your video. The final idea that I'd like to share with you is only for those of you that are up for something a little more challenging, a little more techy. So, Geo Guesser is an online game that uses Google Maps Street View. And what it does is it just drops you on the ground somewhere in the world. And the problem is you have no idea where you are. You must use kind of context clues and guess your location by pinning it on the map. You can choose to be dropped anywhere in the world. You can choose to be dropped in famous places, or you can limit it to the United States. Now, apparently, this used to be a totally free game, but now it does have a pro version that comes with a cost. I don't recommend purchasing that. The free version does have limited capabilities, but I believe as a free game, it's just fine for filling a few extra minutes in the classroom in a fun and challenging way. So I just want to show you what this website looks like. So this is what the website looks like when you first arrive. You do have to create an account for this game. It is free to do that, and it just requires you entering in your email address and creating a password for yourself. The free version does limit you to just so many games per day, and it's only maybe 3 or 4. So you'll want to keep that in mind in how you use it in the classroom. So let me show you what this might look like. Let's play in the United States. So I just hit the green play button. I want to play a single game. I don't want to play with others. And it's dropped me in just some random location in the United States using Google Maps. So, what the challenge is now is that I need to try to figure out where I am. So, you can use the tools on the screen to just turn and see what's to the left, what's to the right. Students can start making inferences about what they're seeing. They can go forward, they can turn down the street, try to figure out what you're noticing about the houses, the cars, perhaps street signs. Students can zoom in on signs such as that to see if there's any identifying information. Then what you do is you come to this map and you try to make a guess. So students would try to make a guess about where am I in the United States. Once they have that guess, they just click, hit guess, and it's going to tell you how far off you were. Our guess was 247 miles from the correct location. It looks like it was actually in Alabama. If you click it, we'll tell you the exact location, Montgomery, Alabama. And the Geo Guesser website is linked for you here on this slide. So hopefully some of those ideas are going to help you get started in having some backup for when these extra moments arise in the classroom. If you're interested in exploring more ideas, I've linked a few places here that you can continue to learn. The first one, 50 quick activities for when sub lessons run short, is provided from Swing Education. The second one, classroom activities for middle school students, is from Scholastic. And what to do on lame duck school days is from Jennifer Gonzalez. And that one is intended for classroom teachers, but you're going to get a lot of great ideas from her. She begins in that article with low prep ideas and then kind of moves on to medium and high prep ideas. As a substitute teacher, you're probably going to want to focus on the low prep ideas unless you're perhaps in a long-term situation. And that's a wrap on what do I do if I have extra time for secondary level substitute teachers. These times are going to happen, and it's best to have activities like this prepared and ready to go in your substitute teacher bag of tricks. Now, if you've downloaded these slides, you can click on the link at the very bottom here. If you have not downloaded them, simply jot this down, bit.ly/capital NKCES, lowercase time, uppercase SEC, and the number 2. Type that into your browser, and this is going to take you to a self-assessment where you can check your understanding of this session. A certificate of completion will be emailed to you when you get 80% of the questions correct. And thank you. Thank you for even considering the role of a substitute teacher. Your time and energy that you devote to this role is so appreciated.